I searched the Beachbody site. I couldn't find, there was only one like an hour away, and I just couldn't, I didn't have that kind of time to have to commute.
Mm-hmm.
And then literally the day before, on Friday, it popped up in my Facebook feed because one of my friends was interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I started like researching it like crazy, and it was in Philly, and I mean, it's like 20 minutes. And so I literally bought a ticket Friday night, and I went by myself, and I was scared shitless because I had no idea what I was getting into. But it was honestly, I mean, I was completely blown away by the entire experience. And not having been to one, I think they said it was one of like the best ones ever, because it really like pushed people to dig deep and really just share things. And I mean, it was extremely emotional. I mean, there was like 5 occasions I think I was crying,
Mm-hmm.
but it was awesome.
Well, tell us a little more. I'd love to hear.
Well, so they didn't have any like guest speakers per se, like nobody from any Beachbody programs or anything. And that was something different because they usually always have a sponsored guest of some sort. So they brought in Kim Carver from corporate.
Oh yeah.
So he was like the guest speaker, and he shared the most like uplifting story about his daughter, and how a young high school girl really had helped his autistic daughter. And his whole speech to us was to be Sarah, be this girl for other people, that person that's going to help that person and push that person no matter what. And I mean, he was just an amazing motivational speaker. And then that led into, the Philly Market Council was just, they went on to like focus and motivation and all that. But what they wanted people to really see was to really share what you are afraid to share with other people, because when you get past that, you can show people that you're dealing with some of the same things that they might deal with, but they're just too afraid to talk about, and too afraid to open up with. And it really gives you that opportunity to connect with other people. And so they like broke us up into small groups, and they asked everybody, they gave us time. They asked everybody to write down 3 things that like you never really would share with other people. And then they put us into groups with people we didn't even know, so that we would have that opportunity to share and not feel, kind of scared to do it. And it wound up going back to the whole group. And there was like 5 individuals who got up and shared some pretty intense, moments. And it was amazing to see like 10 to 15 other people in the room raise their hand that they had gone through something similar. And it was just a really uplifting experience. I didn't even stay for the workout at the end because they went over, because it was like, I think they were so overwhelmed by the emotions and by everybody that like they ran out of time at the end, and they were going to do like a quick yoga. And at that point, I think my emotions were like on overload. And I'm like, I'm good. Like I got so much out of this. Like I don't even need to stay for the yoga.
Downward dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was. I had already worked out, and I'm like, if I leave now, I'm gonna leave on like a really good high. If I stay for the yoga, I'm afraid of what's gonna happen to me. So.
Yeah, and it's a Friday night. I get what you mean. Those things can go long, and that's awesome. I think that's always what I take away from every live event. There's always something really powerful, and you just get really humbled and grounded to what this is about, because we know what it's about for us, but that only goes so far to like really push past our comfort zones of extending the next conversation or messaging that next person or doing the next program that's going to take a lot of work and discipline. Why should I journal my whole next 30 days or another 30 days? Just pushing past those comfort zones. So that's awesome. Is there anything else you really wanted to hit on?
Well, I wish I had like wrote down the ending, because I feel like for me, that was the one like sticking point and driving point to get past like the negativity, to get past your fears. And they had like a closing activity where they had us write down on a piece of paper. They said, like, they made us look at our why, and our why has to be beyond ourselves. Your initial why is yourself, why you start this journey. It's because of what we want, and we want accountability, and we want all these things. And then your why changes as you get into it. And basically they said that your why has to be the one person that you love, or the people that you love more than yourself. And then they took us through a series of statements basically saying why you're doing this, what you want, for those people that you love more than yourself. And the closing statement was something to the effect that basically telling them, well, you're not good enough. Saying to them, like, if you don't drive this and you don't go for it and push for it no matter what, that you're basically telling those people that they're not good enough for you to do it for. So it was just, I'm not giving it anything of the effect that it was, but it was, I wish I had recorded that part because it was pretty amazing.
That's really cool. I can imagine what that is. And I'm sure if it was really powerful, they'll probably take it to things like Summit or other Super Saturdays. I know Beachbody does a really good job of repurposing things at work, and they talk and share and all of that. Well, cool. I'm really glad you had that experience. And that's just a testament to talking yourself into that, you know, last minute thing that you're terrified of, and you go and you come away with so much more. And did it give you a better feel for the company? Like, what all in all?
Oh, completely. I mean, I think because they kind of, like, if you're on the fence at all about what you're doing, you know, which I think I'm going through a lot of emotions about what I'm doing because it's, you know, it's still new and I'm finding my way. And I think it only reaffirmed, like, it's the right place to be for me. And it's like I want to scream it to the world because it's like they don't realize what it is. You know what I mean? It's not just this, you know, I'm working out and trying to help people lose weight. It's just so much more than that. And I know that, you know, having gone through it, but you have to share that with other people, and invite people to experience what you're experiencing.
Right.
And I can't wait for Shift Shop. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I know it's in your athlete wheelhouse.
Oh my gosh. I saw that and I was like, oh, that is mine.
Yeah. It's going to be great. And I love that, the ramp up stuff, all of that's really cool. And if you guys haven't gotten a chance, you can watch the Super Saturday, like what they show that day in your online office. So you can always go on your right-hand side and find that recording. Amanda, like, have you been able to find that at all?
No. I have not, but I will go look. Like,
just a heads up. I mean, I didn't even know how to find it for a long time, but it should be there.
Okay.
Yeah, just when you get a chance, because it talks about all the new flavors and all that stuff, which we'll go over. Well, thanks for sharing, Brenna.
And I'm going to Philly Playbook Live. Christy and I both bought tickets, so we're going with Julie Boris. So that's on May 6th. So I'm super excited for that.
Definitely make sure you say hi.
Okay.
You're with Team Lettuce, and Christy's my cousin, and she'll absolutely know who I mean, I sure hope she know who I am, but we're good friends. She's at my wedding and everything. But she, I'll recap on my experience real quick. I definitely want to hear about Caitlin, but I was able to talk about focus, and I had Mandy do some recordings and stuff. It was hard because we broke up into 3 groups, and I spoke to each group with my friend Rihanna each time. And it was nice. I wasn't too nervous. I just really wanted to make sure I gave strategic tips, like tips that, because you have people from all levels, right? You have people like Brenna, who it's their first Super Saturday, and then you have people who have been in this business forever, and they're just sitting there and you're telling them exactly what maybe they've told you already, right? Like you got the tips from them. So you're speaking to this wide range of audiences. But I will say it was really cool because I think there's a lot of people that have full-time jobs, or there's a lot of people who juggle the many things similar to myself and don't think that they have the space in their calendar or the willpower or the energy to message and reach out and constantly remember how to have a team call and then have a calendar and have a free group and have a challenge group and then, you know, continually invite new people, et cetera, et cetera. So I just kind of gave strategic tips. And it's all stuff I've talked to you guys about in terms of creating white space in your calendar. And really just, I got really clear with it, right? When you have to be really specific. So I helped people understand how to create that white space and then find that white space. So, you know, there's definitely pockets in our calendar where we can be more efficient. And then there's pockets in our calendar that have things in there that we can just take off, and delegating that kind of stuff is huge. I went into that. And then I also went into, just what you do in that priority list. So Rihanna posted something in Spartan Nation. I thought it was really good. And if you guys haven't heard of Fanatical Prospecting, that's a book we're reading. And at the end of the day, it just helps you understand when you're motivated like Brenna about how amazing this business is and how much it can change people's lives, you're going to be willing to do the hard work and buy the summit ticket and go to Playbook Live and, you know, message that next person, just do those uncomfortable steps. But then the uncomfortable steps, like, well, what do I really need? Okay, once you've like said, yes, I'm going to help people in this, I'm going to use this as my vehicle. And then next step is, okay, what do I need to do to be successful? I know Caitlin and I have talked about this. You just come to that realization that you need to really connect sincerely with as many people as you can, because the laws are that people are going to fall through the cracks and not get back to you and not do what you asked them to do. They're not going to do auto ship, even though you told them 20 times to do auto ship. Like, there's just all of these things that will fall through. But the more you reach out to people, it all comes together because of just the law of numbers and odds. And so fanatical prospecting talks about that. But what Rihanna did was she posted off a list or put a list together of like your number one things, your number one set of agenda that you need to get done, and then secondary, and then kind of like extra. And so really prioritizing your to-do list. If you listen to any coach or anybody, it's generally reaching out to new people, right? Inviting people to join you to something. So I always find that like connecting with people throughout the day in response to my photos, and that's the easy stuff. That's the low-hanging fruit. They reached out to me, I can reach out back to them. They came in my class, I can talk to them. The hard thing is reaching out to that person that you haven't talked to in forever, or that's not looking at your newsfeed because they're not in your algorithm. It's like doing that hard stuff. So do that hard stuff first. And for me personally, getting my workout in is very important first thing, because I already teach. And that's something I could easily talk myself out of. For some people, you guys do your workouts, you know, that's your workout. It's something you look forward to. For me, I have to get it done. So if I don't do it first thing in the morning before everything else, it won't get done. So it's kind of like get those things done and have a list of what you have to get done. And then everything else can kind of be throughout your day when it's easy. So we talked about all that kind of stuff. And I'm happy to kind of expand upon that if you guys want more tips on how I go through my calendar and how I manage my day. But I really do stay focused and work within pockets that I want to work. And I work very deliberately. Like, I'm never just, I see a person comment and then I'm going to comment right back, you know, because they commented. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm in my reply mode, or I'm in my reach out mode, or I'm in my social media post mode. Like, just being very intentional with your calendar gives you that power. So we covered all that kind of stuff, which I think really, really went well. And it was neat to see, I don't know, I empathize very much with people who present at those things where it's very exhausting to talk for an hour in front of strangers. I was totally dull headache done after that. It was just an hour, but I was done. So teachers, I don't know, I was talking to my sister tonight. I'm like, I'm so used to using my body, and like when I don't know what to say, I like go woo and like grunt and stuff. But as an instructor, it's totally different than like being on and lecturing or sharing tips. So props to you guys. Cool. Well, that's enough about me. So would love to hear, Caitlin, what you guys gathered. I was so glad to see you guys there.
Yeah, it was fun. Sorry, I'm having a funky afternoon, so I'm a little off base a little bit tonight, so I apologize. But
thanks for being here.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if I'm having a little bit of, I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Shailene Johnson's the after the event situation. I don't know if I'm dealing with a lot of that going on or whatnot, but it was cool. Carl was there the last time I went by myself, so this was kind of cool to have teammates with me. It was really fun to be in my state and have people go with me and not be alone. And so Carl was fun. You know how he is. He's so funny. Like, he's just, you think he's our CEO and he's going to be this like big out of touch, like serious person, but he's not. He's so down to earth and he's so funny, and he's just hilarious. Like, he showed up wearing the same shirt that he had on in the video that everybody watched. And he's like, I didn't even know I did it. I must really like this shirt. And it was just, it was so funny. And like, they had some guy emceeing. He was a Beachbody coach from Minnesota. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry, but he was rapping, and Carl came out and started like rapping with him. It was hysterical. It was so much fun. But there was, I think what stood out most is there was a woman who, the woman that talked, you know, you always have your presenter and your person that speaks, and she didn't have like a huge, like ridiculous, like why or what she was doing, but she and her husband had really good jobs. They both made very good money. They didn't have any kids, and so they really didn't have an additional reason to be doing the business. But she decided, her and her husband one day out of nowhere wanted to travel the world. And she was only at that point making like $300 a week, I think, with Beachbody. And she, after talking to her husband, they thought, let's do this. We're probably eventually one day going to have kids. It's not going to be something we can do. And let's just sell our house. Let's quit everything we're doing. All we need is a computer and to keep inspiring people. And
wow,
they did. They literally both quit their jobs. And she goes, I just literally at the end of the day, I helped people and I just did my shit. Like no excuses, no maybe, or no crying because somebody's criticizing me. I just did it day in and day out. And she literally, her and her husband traveled the world for 3 months straight, only solely on what they were making with Beachbody. And now she comes home, and she had a lull for a little bit because it was kind of weird to get back in the element with everybody. But she's super, super successful, and it was just kind of cool to hear her story. And she just she didn't have anything tricky. Just, I did my shit. Like, I did what I had to do. I posted every day. I didn't skip when I felt down. I just did it every day and just did it for me and helping the other people. And that's kind of cool.
I feel like I don't know if they were the same people who do the National Wake Up Call or some training I listened to, but they were like ready to get out of doing the things for the wrong reasons, like their jobs. They were doing amazing, like making a lot of money, but not feeling like they were doing what was in their heart, which is a courageous thing to say.
Yeah. And she called it heart and hustle. And that's what there's something, she's like, it's one thing to have a good house and have all this money and, feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, really, what is it if it doesn't somewhat impact you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to have the heart for it. And I think, I'm really emotional today. I'm really sorry.
Aww.
But anyways, it just, you're just finding more meaning in life and what you're doing and just being proud of what you're doing and not caring what everybody else thinks into all of it. It just would be nice to get back to that being the root. Totally.
And that's something that as you guys have success in this business, and hopefully I hope you can have ownership of that. I speak to that where I might work at a job where, I question my morals because sometimes you're selling something, you're like, okay, this is not working, but I still got to make the bills. And so I'm, selling something that, am I selling my soul, so, and I had that type of job where sometimes you could say that, but at the end of the day, I feel very, very empowered. And I actually don't act that way at my day job because I'm like, you know what, it's not worth me selling my soul because I would rather get fired from this position. And because I just have so much peace and serenity and empowerment and confidence with what I do outside of work, it totally carries on into my day job. And Julie honed in on that, which I think you'll see at the playbook, Brenna, but I love how she's like, if you aren't looking into your entire world and seeing how it can relate to this business and how this business can relate to your entire world, you're totally missing the point. Everything transcends into each other, and being a giving person and looking within yourself to get stronger and combat fear and insecurity and get through self-doubt and truly extend beyond. And I was actually having this, speaking of deep conversation with Dwight, it's kind of like, why stress yourself out and why, maybe like take years off of your life to create a business, what's your why? And for me, I don't know, I just absolutely want to leave with a legacy. I absolutely want to leave feeling like I've left it all on the field, while still being kind and loving and not to the point of costing my loved ones me as myself. But I want to leave it all on the field for everybody that I care about. And I think you can do that with this business. So that's awesome, Caitlin, that you were able to experience that and go. And I know, so if you're dealing with that, that's totally, totally normal. And we appreciate you being on the call tonight to share what you want to share. So no pushing or pulling. needed. Appreciate that. And then Tamika, would love to hear what you thought because you were there in the Indianapolis one.
Hello, everybody. I was there in the Indianapolis one. It was a really good time. I just got on the call like right when Caitlin was talking. So was there like a question that was asked?
Yeah, just takeaways, anything you want to share.
My takeaways. Oh my. Because I've been talking about it all day, so I should have takeaways. So I guess my takeaway was excitement. Like I straight went to work and was like, let me tell you what Super Sunday was about. And this is how we all should be inspired and changed. And so it was nice. It was nice just to be in a room with a whole bunch of people who have the same goal as myself and the same energy as myself. So just to have that atmosphere alone was wonderful. To listen to everybody's story and to find the pieces that relate to you, that was great. And to get a little emotional behind those things and to learn about, I kind of love when Julie was like, what you said, like if you're not looking at this and seeing it in everything you do. So like that started to happen. Like when people ask me questions, I'm like always talking about Beachbody or health and fitness or just life and energy all the time. So it's kind of sickening for some people, but I am seeing it in almost everything I do. So that's kind of my takeaway.
That's awesome.
Just the energy.
Totally. And she was rocking it. We were working out with Julie about to die at the end.
Yes.
And I kept turning around and we were winking at each other. It was awesome. It was awesome to see Tamika. She would come to my classes at night. It's just so nice to bring people to that. Like you said, it's just so much more impactful. So it's something that for some reason, once you get to that point, we're like, okay, let me get to live events. Okay, if I can just get people with me to live events, if I can get people to just try Shakeology with me, like once you realize that the things speak for themselves and you just need to invite, it takes a lot of pressure off of yourself. Especially the more you get in tune with everything. So, I would love to hear, this is all very Beachbody, but obviously, like we talked about, everything translates into everything. And Joy just it looked like an incredible trip to Costa Rica.
Jealous.
Let's hear about that.
Yeah. Hey guys. So the trip was awesome. Thanks for all your love-in throughout the time. It was one of the first trips I ever got to combine like my passion for Pilates and just a vacation. So I was able to do adventuresome activities where I kind of want to blend into the fitness world, like surfing. I don't know if anybody has tried surfing, but it's freaking hard. So hard. Oh my gosh. Just the power you need to take the board out to the water, to push yourself off of the board, the balance. Like I got up a couple times, but it was freaking hard. And it just makes you appreciate like the different types of physical activity people do to keep themselves fit, and across the world, how the cultures are different and what they do. And so, yeah, it was just baller and I had such a good time. And, I'm like really motivated to get going and get people fit for this summer. So, yeah.
I'm glad you took that time for yourself. And I just hope that this is evidence that when you invest in yourself and you make that commitment to going to these things, and I haven't been to everything. There are plenty of things where I just want to be clear with you guys. My first summit, I dipped my toes in the water with Dwight. Like I went and we kind of treated it like a vacation. We went to some things and skipped other things. And then my second time I had 2 coaches with me, and there was one that like earned her ticket and she was super into it. And then the other one was more laid back, and I kind of like veered to go to the laid back route. And I'm like, yeah, let's not wake up. I don't know. That's hard on your bodies to wake up at 4 a.m. and like sit outside of a workout facility. And it was crazy back then. It was like Disney World where you had to like cut people, not cut, but almost, to like get into a workout. So it's come a long way with that. And then the next summit I was like, okay, I'm in this to win it. Like, let me be the example, right? Let me be the coach that I need to be. And so I went to everything and invited as many people as I could. And then the next summit I was dealing with that, not just that commitment, but how do I make the most of that experience for my coaches, and realizing that maybe I can't be everybody's friend and kind of learning that barrier in relationships. So there's every time you do these things, it's going to be so good for you. And then you're going to learn how to navigate that with who you invite. So if you guys ever have any struggles with that, like whether you're not meshing with the person you came with, or, you know, you have high expectations for them, but you just got to focus on yourself. Like I've been through it all and I'm constantly learning, and I always pick Julie's brain because she's always very like super independent. But I like to be that like mama bear to a fault. So, but at the end of the day, these events are so cool to make your own. You go, you take what you need to get out of it, but when you can invite people to it and treat people the way you'd want to be treated if you were invited somewhere, that's going to be different for all of you guys. So write that story for yourself, you know, invite people and make it that experience that you'd want them to have. So live events are amazing. Wanted to get that out of the way, but of course the announcements. So how excited are we about vegan flavors? And if you're like me, you've been in this a while and you've been waiting for vegan vanilla forever. So that's a really big deal. And the new program is really exciting too. I'm really excited for you guys to experience that. Something that I wanted to make sure you guys all, it's so easy to want to share, because to us, it's so exciting about vegan vanilla. It's so exciting. And there's going to be a lot of people who maybe have been your customers that are excited about vegan vanilla, but everybody else will be like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. What is vegan and what's vanilla? And are you talking about another scam again, like MLM, pyramid scheme, blah, blah, blah. So the Chalene Johnson call, have you guys all seen that National Wake Up Call with Chalene?
Yes.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. If you've listened to it, listen to it again. She is so good at helping us with our knee-jerk reactions to just word vomit and share. So if you look at me and if you guys kind of follow my social media, whenever something new comes out, I'm not like, first of all, I don't watch what any other coaches do. Second of all, I always just kind of keep with my rhythm, right? So like, as incredible as vegan vanilla is, I'm still trying to launch my challenge group next week. And so I stay on that trajectory of what's coming out. And if you're sharing, you've already done it, I think that's fantastic. I love that you're sharing, but you're going to get more and more skilled at realizing I need to share value as Tamika, or I need to share value as Brenna versus just talking Beachbody. And so it's just adding value. So the Facebook Lives, like, have you shared a story lately? Are you taking people on a journey? I'll even like not even really post what workout I'm doing unless people ask, because I want it to be universal. I want them to think it's just me and a workout that they haven't seen before. And I just don't want them to ever think I'm like shoving Beachbody down their throat. So just something to consider. How can you make it more encompassing and get them to be attracted to you to a point where then they message you, or when you reach out, you can then dial in to, oh, by the way, this is what I use. This is the mechanism in which I go about how I help people. So I'm then on the other end of the thing, like for every 10 posts, I'll be like, yeah, I'm a Beachbody coach, just in case you didn't think I was in Beachbody. Like I want to make sure people know I do Shakeology and I do Beachbody programs. So like for every 10 posts I make, I want to make sure it's a Beachbody affiliation. Like they link the two together, because Beachbody is a strong brand. And so I do know on the other side of things that if somebody wants to order from Beachbody and they're like, well, I love Beachbody and I really love Maria, let me reach out to Maria, right? So don't shoot yourself in the foot about that, but then don't be all about Beachbody, because then you're going to shut yourself off to the person who doesn't want to have anything to do with ever being a coach or anything MLM, et cetera. Because it really does, in my mind, start with fitness and health. And then the opportunity comes after people have had incredible results. Is anybody struggling with that? Are you guys dealing with that at all? Have any questions on that? It's a work in progress. It's like, it for sure isn't this thing that's the most clear, but Chalene Johnson really helped me with that. If you follow any of her social media training, it just really helps collectively. I think Facebook Live is super helpful because you're legit just sharing a vulnerable story. Brenna, you had some success with that. So Brenna went live for the first time.
Yes.
And what did anything come from that? Like what?
I've gotten like a lot of positive feedback from it. Like a lot of people reached out and messaged me. I'm just trying to think. I've talked to so many people in the last week. Like I can't remember. You know, a friend of mine from college reached out after she saw my video, my first one, and you know, she just thanked me for going out there and sharing. And you know, then she wanted to reach out and talk to me about something personal she was going through. So you know, it allowed me to make that connection with somebody, and it was off of a 5-minute video, not even 5 minutes, that I just kind of invited people to join me and, you know, see what a challenge group was about.
Totally. And this is a funny situation. So Chloe and Isabel, it's just like fancy jewelry. I don't spend any money on jewelry, so it's not something that I'll probably do. However, this girl added me to a group, and it was super cute because they did a Facebook Live in there with their wine, and they had the necklaces on, and this girl like was talking with her hands, and she broke the necklace off of her, and she's like, how do I advertise this necklace when I just like broke it? You know, it was so cute, and it made me watch it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I will consider reaching out to them, because the jewelry is really pretty. I just don't spend money on jewelry. But I saw it, and the Facebook Live was what sold me, because, you know, if all people see is the Beachbody stuff, it's just very like, what's the right word for like a hospital? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, sterile. It's very sterile, like branded Beachbody. But if it's you and they know you and you're just totally adorable or vulnerable or sharing value and content, it's going to go a long way. So I didn't have Facebook Live when I first did this business, and I don't know that it would have been easy for me, but it's something that I'm using all day. I mean, I'm not even, if you guys see, I don't do my makeup. Like I'm sweaty. I don't care. If I don't do it now, it's not going to happen. And people know you. It's going to be real. Like, I'm not going to be super manicured and then, you know, they see me in class and don't recognize the two people together. So just be yourself and continue to share that. Amanda, I know you went live as well. Have you been going live since? I need to get back on everybody's social media, but how many
yeah, I've done a couple. I ramble. So it's one of those, I have to, like, I want it to be authentic and real, but at the same time, like, I also may want to outline what I want to say so that I'm not going on and telling a 2-minute story in 10 minutes.
Right.
So that, and I don't know, like, there's a difference between like being vulnerable and then, like, we all know the people out there that just overshare on social media.
Yes.
And so social media for me has always been a highlight reel. And so I'm still navigating where's the line in being real and vulnerable and crossing it to like oversharing.
Totally. That's something for sure I think we all deal with, and something that and if we've all heard this, the only reason we've heard this is because we've gone through a training on this. And if you haven't heard it yet, something that's helped me, and this is a Shailene Johnson thing, is once you feel comfortable to have a moral to the story, then you share, right? So like with Whole30, I feel totally comfortable talking about where I was with my artificial consumption because I had a game plan and I was already convicted that I wasn't going to turn around, right? So if I had any doubt in my mind, I don't know that I would have shared about my struggle with all that artificialness and my story of what led up to this. So once you have a moral to the story and you feel confident, it's kind of like, and I think it comes with time, but I will say, like, I could care less who sees I want everyone to see my before. I want everyone to see where I started and know that story because I'm just so confident now where I'm at. I know that there's people who maybe there was a stage in my life where I had my before and I wasn't ready for people to see that. I was kind of embarrassed that I was even at that point, but what I'm trying to say is once you feel empowered to have a moral, and it could be like a small little lesson, then you share that vulnerability. So it should always be, here's where I've been and here's what I'm doing about it now. And I don't have it all figured out, but here's what I know. So it's a lot of, if you look at my posts, it's always like, there's a pretty clear like pattern of like, I'm not perfect. Here's what I struggle with, but here's what I'm doing about it. And I try to keep that formula even throughout my posts. But I know what you mean. I don't think our team has, too many of us have that problem, like oversharing, which is good. But I appreciate that you don't want to be that person. And like, you don't want to bring people down and you don't want to be negative or put yourself out there. I know that there's stories that I'm not willing to share yet, for sure. Like tragic stuff. Not going to happen for a long time.
Right. And I mean, and there's just, and it's not like, I'm just cautious to not be that person that's always like, well, let me tell, like, what is this girl going on about now? Like, there is, like, everyone's got that person on, like, their timeline that you're just like, did you really? Like, really?
Right.
Are you sharing that? Like, some things should just be better off, like, dealt with. But I also think, like, in terms of sharing with Beachbody, like, I'm very much, like, at the beginning of my journey. So, like, I can't be like, oh, well, this is where I was.
Totally.
Well, this is where I was a week ago. Like, this is where I was a month ago. Like, my before is in the very recent past.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of, I'm still working out navigating all that.
Yeah. And that's good to be honest about that. And I think that's where I think maybe you even did this already, but Facebook Lives, for example, and even this is something we should all do, even if we have, for me, I'm like all about the Whole30 right now, but I need to remember, okay, how can I talk about other things? Like, so blog posts that went really well for me, whereas like my, basically I never got into a sorority. I was rejected from every house. I've been rejected by lots of guys, as like my, what's that story? Like Black Swan or whatever, little duckling, ugly duckling stage. Like, what is that moral? So I did a blog post about like the relationships that, just flopped, the house that I never got, and not playing soccer, like all these. Oh, when I was an Oakley ambassador, I was like this Oakley sponsor model girl, and then they didn't want me back. Like all this stuff that like broke my heart. And it was all, and I talked about how my blog post was how I love rejection or what rejection has done for me or something like that. But I mean, that was literally like me talking about childhood stuff. And somehow people really related to it. And I think it was because it was of the recent Oakley part, like the recent tenderness. So to dig deep into your past, because it helps have confidence and perspective, but then to touch on something that might be still vulnerable. So what I'm trying to say is like everything, right? Like what Julie said, it's all related. So for me, the things I struggle with in terms of being loved and happy come down to feeling beautiful and confident and accepted. And that rings true whether I was, not a star soccer player because of my injuries or because I was rejected from a bunch of sorority girls, or if, it was all the same thing to me. I just didn't feel loved or popular or good enough. And that's something that translates into health and fitness for me now. So I think what I'm trying to say is, without rambling, is that your stories can be very way off the health and fitness topic. But to me and to you, it probably all comes back to that. And you don't even have to say that. I think people would gather that from your branding, right? Just help people feel. Ice machine's going crazy. So yeah, I think when you share all of those stories and then you just so happen to help people with health and fitness too, it's all related to happiness and confidence. So don't be afraid to share other things from your world that have nothing to do with health and fitness is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anybody have any experience with that? Like sharing non-fitness stuff. Maybe that's something we need to work on. So yeah, that's when I had a blog, it forced me to, because I had to be like, okay, I'm talking about eat your fruits and veggies. Like, how boring is that, you know? So, and Facebook Live's legit. I look at that as like, it's a blog post, right? Like a really deep, cool thing you're going to share. And I think Amanda outlining it, absolutely. I do that. I like have it in my email. So I have it right there. So I toggle back and forth, and then I like speak from the heart, and then I go back to my next point. So that definitely helps. But yeah, so live events, I'm really proud of you guys for doing that, investing in yourself. When it comes to sharing this new exciting stuff, really challenge yourself to be a resource for people and, you know, give them a story, give them a reason to connect to you. We can go over that in more ways, but Facebook Live, I keep coming back to that Shailene Johnson National Wake Up Call. Listen to that and really try to implement that, because you'll be much better for it. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or things that they're looking forward to working on? It's a Monday night. You guys are tired. Yeah, well, it was a very jam-packed weekend for me too. I get you, Caitlin. It was very days like yesterday, you're just like, and then you got to hit the work week and do everything else you're responsible for. So feel free to message me or call me if you need anything. And I'm really proud of you guys for showing up tonight. And so don't forget about the Coach Basics we're rounding out, the free challenge group we're doing now, and then the challenge group. I know some people are launching their own, which is great. But the actual challenge group starts next week. So keep advertising and inviting people to that too. Cool.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.